Hello everyone and welcome to my page. As I have done for the past year, I'm going to be discussing the 2017, February 13th, 2017 double homicide of Abigail Williams and Liberty German in Delphi, Indiana near the Monon High Bridge. And again, this is a reminder that everybody is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. So any potential theories that we're discussing again are just theories. Today I want to discuss motive and I want to discuss evidence because I think, again, there's some things that Richard Allen, who is accused of these crimes, or at least being one of the people involved in these crimes, I think there's going to be some things that he has trouble explaining away when this case goes to trial. First, when it comes to motive, based on things that I've studied, there's cold case detectives, FBI agents, people who say that there are three primary reasons for someone to commit murder. Now, my studies have shown that there's actually four, in my opinion. There's robbery, there's revenge, there's jealousy, and there's sexual motivation. So, what do we know about Bridge Guy? Okay. We know that he wasn't out there trying to rob Libby and Abby. They didn't have anything that was that valuable on them. Jealousy, it can't be that because obviously no 40-something-year-old man is going to be jealous of a couple of teenagers on a nice February day. That doesn't make any sense. Revenge, unless you think that somebody that the girls knew was involved in some sort of really, really bad drug trade. And again, I know that, there's one of the family members that was involved in drugs in the past, but, that doesn't mean somebody goes out and just slaughters two girls in broad daylight to seek revenge on them. That would be a pretty extreme form of revenge and a pretty bad plan in broad daylight. So I tend to really doubt that as well. And then we're left with the sexual motivation, which obviously, based on things we know that Bridge Guy used a gun. Well, how do we know that? When we go to the probable cause affidavit here on page 2, and then we say, see right here, based on the probable cause affidavit for the arrest of Richard Allen, it says, as the male subject approaches victim 1 and victim 2, one of the victims mentions gun. So as Bridge Guy is approaching them at the end of the bridge, on the south side of the bridge, he pulls out a gun, according to their probable cause affidavit. So this person at that point has committed what's known as kidnapping, because when you do something to somebody and order them down the hill like he did against their will, that's immediately kidnapping. So it starts off that way, and then we wonder, well, why did the whole scene end up across the water, across the river, things like that, or the creek? I'm sorry, Deer Creek. And one of the things that people have to realize is sometimes when people who are committing deviant crimes like this kind of think that they are going to control a situation, and sometimes things go awry. And that may be what happened in this case. He may have ordered them down the hill. He may have even got them to the creek, ordered them across. And then he's, for all we know, he gets them on the other side of the creek. Maybe that's why they found the unspent bullet. Maybe he cocked the weapon, trying to further intimidate them, or saying, hey, take your clothing off. I don't want to go through all the gory scenarios, but that seems like that sort of a scenario is most likely to me. But again, I digress. I want to go back to a couple of other things here as well. And on page 4 of this affidavit, one of the things that gets talked about here is when Richard Allen spoke with investigators in 2017, and this is documented, he says, and it says in the affidavit, Mr. Allen was on the trail between 13:30, which in military time is 1:30 p.m., and 15:30, which is 3:30. He admits that he parked at the old Farm Bureau building and walked to the new Freedom Bridge. So he's referring to the CPS, DPS welfare building that they've infamously talked about. So by his own admission, he parked at that building, And by his own admission, he was out there for 2 hours. So he puts himself at the crime scene for 2 hours. Now, the thing I can't get around is if he was out there at 3:30, we know this crime occurred somewhere between, roughly like 2:30 and 3 p.m. If he's out there that entire time, he doesn't see anybody else. He doesn't hear anybody else. We also have a female witness that allegedly sees him on the bridge, comes back from the north side of the bridge after seeing him on a platform, walks past Libby and Abby as they're going toward the bridge, and yet he claims he never saw them. Doesn't make any sense to me. Again, this is just my opinion. But again, doesn't make any sense. But here's what's even more damning to me. And again, I've really been poking through this sort of thing. And I apologize if you hear my dog bark in the background. I have a wiener dog, and she's a little bit of a very alpha kind of dog that likes to be territorial out there in the front room with people. Anyhow, right here in the affidavit again, it says on October 13th, 2022, Richard Allen was interviewed again by investigators. Again, he repeated that he was on the trail, etc., etc. Here's the thing. He told investigators that he was wearing blue jeans and a blue or black Carhartt jacket with a hood. That's exactly what Bridge Guy was wearing. So, unless somebody else was out there randomly just wearing the same thing he described himself as wearing, I mean, what would be the odds of two people wearing the exact same sort of thing that Bridge Guy was wearing that day? Richard Allen and Bridge Guy. So, unless you believe that there's another person that was out there wearing the exact same things that he was that day, that also didn't see anything else happen, I'm sorry, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So, there's an awful lot that when this goes to trial, he's going to have to explain away. I mean, I'm not even going to go into the bullet evidence, any of the other eyewitness evidence, just based on the things that I discussed here. How does he explain that away? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, the fact that he's admitting he was wearing what Bridge Guy was wearing to investigators as recently as 3 months ago, and then we're supposed to just believe that's not him. I don't know. Again, everybody's innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, but these are just some things that I wanted to point out. Again, my personal theory is this was either an abduction or a sexual assault gone wrong. I think that the girls gave whoever Bridge Guy was, or if there was more than one person, their money's worth, and they didn't expect that, and it just got out of hand. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hit the like button if you like my content, and have a great day, everybody.